to QI, where tonight we are victims of fashion and prey to every passing fad. And sashaying up the catwalk this evening are the daringly see-through Clive Anderson, the beautifully cut Rich Hall, the topless and strapless Reginald D. Hunter, and an old pair of corduroys we found in the potting shed, Alan Davis. Of course, fashion is something that goes in one year and out the other. And predictably, ladies and gentlemen, our buzzers tonight are about as fashionable as a saber-toothed tiger wearing flared trousers. Clive goes...
But I'm always true to you, darling, in my fashion.
Rich goes...
Cause he's a dedicated follower of fashion.
Reg goes...
You know, shirt's so sexy,
I can't complain.
And Alan goes...
He looks a proper nana in his bright top boots. He's got such a job to pull them up, but he calls them daisy roots.
Oh, well, excellent. Now, your challenge tonight, gentlemen, is to start a trend. As it's Fashion Week on QI, after 6 years' struggle, this show has never managed to instigate any kind of a catchphrase. And we think it's time we change that. So, you have in front of you, I hope, a list of 19th century catchphrases, as it is QI. You can use one of those, if you like. They are genuine 19th century catchphrases.
Has your mother sold her mangle?
Say that again.
Has your mother sold her mangle?
Has your mother sold her mango? That was a genuine catchphrase.
Who are you?
Ah, that's your catchphrase.
Yes, it is.
This is one of the biggest catchphrases of the 19th century was who are you?
Yeah. I thought who are you would be a nice, easy catchphrase to get going. It's hard to... Who are you? It's got to get quite...
Well,
Has your mother sold her mangle?
It was used in all circumstances, apparently. If someone walked into a pub, for example, if you caught someone picking your pocket, you go, who are you? Now, let's turn to our American friends. Catchphrase is a big thing in America?
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
My grandfather used to say, you're dumber than a bag of wet mice.
Very good.
Yeah,
good.
it's funny the first time I heard it, but, you know,
Yeah, it doesn't
my whole life.
Yeah.
I didn't see it on the list that was appropriate for me, but I have one, do what you do best. And that comes from, I was back home recently and I was visiting my cousin, 40. He's got 4 or 5 kids that we know of from different people. And we were watching TV and there was a woman from Washington, D.C. talking about women's rights. And it's like it's a woman's right to be able to have children without a man. In fact, they don't need men to be around. You can just sire a child and leave. And I looked at him and I said, get to D.C. and do what you do best.
Excellent. So we got do what you do best, dumber than a bag of wet mice.
Has your mother sold her mangle? I'm losing enthusiasm.
Has your mother sold a mango? And
Who are you?
who are you? All right. If you can work these intelligently, charmingly and brilliantly into the show, I will be awarding huge
You're asking
bonuses
for it.
at the end. So let's start at the very top. What was the most disastrous haircut ever? Yes. Some examples for you there.
I've got 2 answers I'm going to get that screen going up there. One is my last haircut. No, or Samson's haircut. Samson's haircut done...
No, Samson's haircut's a very good answer, actually.
That's me.
Yeah. Yes. You've just noticed.
Well, you must remember posing for these, or has this been...
I remember the one in the middle. For the other 2, I have no memory.
I know for a fact that in 1928, the New England Tool and Die Manufacturing Company was looking for a new screw that wouldn't slip out of the notch. Yeah. And a man named Phillips worked for him, who had one of the most disastrous haircuts ever. It was parted in 4
That would be an example of a disastrous haircut that went good. This one, well, I mean, of course, there are many candidates, and Samson is one, but do you know anything about Louis VII of France? There he is on the left. We're talking about the 13th century. His queen became queen of a more famous king to us, being British.
Aquitaine.
She was Eleanor of Aquitaine,
Yeah,
absolutely
long
right.
hair, yes.
The point is, Louis VII was very religious, and the monks got to him, and he cut that hair off. He looks rather good there, but apparently he cut all his hair off, and she was furious at it.
Oh, right.
So cross that eventually she divorced him. I mean, there are other things too, probably, but the hair is mentioned by historians as
He
one
also
of the
cut
things
his cock off.
that maybe, I don't know, his mother may have sold her.
Has your mother sold a mangle?
Maybe that had happened. Yeah,
I divorce you.
But the consequences of the divorce were enormous because she then went over. She was incredibly rich. She took her kingdoms with her, married Henry II, and it began the 100 Years' War.
Yes.
So essentially, it was a haircut that began a 100 Years' War.
Yeah, but that's just something you say in polite company. Like when you telling people you're breaking up with your partner, you go, yeah, well, I ain't like what he did with his hair, so I left. You can't really say about the king, he keep farting in bed. Or, I just don't like his haircut.
Yeah, you're right. What is interesting about this poor king is he definitely wouldn't have had sexual relations with Eleanor's mother because he was very abstinent indeed, and he became ill, and the courtiers suggested it was because he hadn't had sex. Yeah. And so he consented to have the Queen sent for, and they said, no, she's too far away. If you don't have sex immediately, you will die. But genuinely being told that he had to have sex or he would die, he actually said he would rather die chaste than live an adulterer.
See, that leads you to believe that he had a bad sexual experience as a child.
Yes.
Yes. And just, because, most men wouldn't rather, face death than have sex. So something happened when he was a kid, maybe a teenager, maybe his wee-wee got caught in the zipper, or mangled, or...
Yes, the mangle.
Or he said, I'm not ready for this yet, maybe just let me lick your elbow. And the woman just said, do what you do best. And...
Very good. The Simpsons make a reference to the 100 Years' War.
Oh, dear.
Do you know what they call it?
Eh?
Operation Speedy Resolution. Anyway, so we've all had bad hair days, but the one which helped start the 100 Years' War takes some beating. Louis VII's haircut seems to have been a bit of a faux pas. Many faux pas are just Freudian slits. Slips! But what outrageous item of clothing got the Duke of Wellington thrown out of a club? Yes.
I'm going to suggest he wore his Wellington boots in the club. So I knew that would be because I just love it. I think it's so fantastic what a career he had, because not only was he a great general, winning one of the most important battles of all time, and a few others, plus he was Prime Minister, and he had Wellington boots named after him.
Pretty stunning, isn't
it? And they were... on my shirt.
I think I know.
Yes, go on.
I know exactly what happened. Now, he showed up at this situation, and it was supposed to be all formal and nice, but he was a bit of a cook. And he came in and he said, look at this wonderful dish I made with beef. And it was inappropriate to be trying to introduce your cooking at a social occasion like that. And his wife tried to say, don't do it, just, save it and invite some people back, and we can eat, have a smoke, and then it'll all be good. But he was like, no, I know this is good food. And so he took it there, and he was just, people was like, oh, we're just drinking here, and just, oh, he's general, he should know better. And just... This is what I believe happened. I might have read it somewhere, I can't remember.
You reminded us of another thing to chalk up to Wellington.
Yeah.
Not just the boots,
and the
not
food.
just the battle, but the beef in pastry.
Around beef.
Yeah. Actually, this happens to be just about my favourite club. If you were to ask me if I could get in a time machine and go anywhere, this is one of the places I would go. It was called Almack's. It was the club that determined whether or not you were in society. And it was run by these fierce women, the lady patronesses. And it didn't matter who you were. If you didn't get a voucher from them, you couldn't enter Almack's.
So we're looking for an item of clothing that Wellington turned up in.
Yeah, because what must a properly attired gentleman in the evening, what should he wear?
A hat.
He would have that, but what would he have down here?
Hot pants.
Close in as much as...
Breeches.
Knee breeches.
Yeah.
Knee breeches. And Wellington wore...
Long trousers.
Trousers!
Trousers.
He
A
wore
rah-rah skirt.
trousers.
Yeah.
He wore trousers. And so
So
he was...
I won the Peninsular War, for goodness sake. I can wear any trousers I like.
You'd think. Exactly.
Or did they make him roll them up?
That's
to
my
make it...
catchphrase. I can come in any trousers I like. Sorry. But, it's... Sorry. I do apologise.
Yeah, I sure enjoyed that long, winding story so we could get to that. That was...
The trouser was considered absolutely shocking and not to be worn in smart society.
The breaches of etiquette.
Exactly. Breaches, that's good. Good, you know, we like it.
I bet when they told him he couldn't come in, he looked at him and he went, "Pants to you."
Ah. The point is, the Duke of Wellington was thrown out of a club for wearing trousers. On the subject of trousers, as a matter of fact, what's the best way of dealing with a wartime shortage of trousering?
Wow.
Yeah. I think that's just
trousers.
a serving suggestion there. I don't think
They ran out of trousers?
Well, obviously, in the war, there was a shortage of material, and how did they deal with it? What's the first thing you would do to save material with trousers?
Put them in trenches.
You try and use less cloth in each trouser.
Yeah, exactly.
One-legged trousers.
In Scotland, you'd wear kilts to...
Or you take them off dead guys.
Yeah.
I mean, the enemy.
Yeah. But no, generally, the first thing that they banned...
Oh, pleats and things like that.
Turn-ups.
Turn-ups? That saves about an inch of...
Out of a million.
Come on.
It's a lot of
Think
material.
on.
And they were so serious about this that if a tailor sold someone extra long trousers, longer than they needed, knowingly, really, so that the wife would then make him turn-ups, the tailor would go to prison.
What about older gentlemen who pull their trousers right up close
Yes,
to
they do, up to the nipples,
right up to the nipples there.
Yeah.
Why, now, first of all, what's going on there?
Turn-ups.
Why don't
They've
they
got-
stop somewhere on the way?
They've got no pleasure in life left except to give themselves a wedgie every time they...
Why don't they just pull their trousers right up to just under their eye?
Then they would save on shirtings.
They could have a really long fly. Like...
You're
That's an enormous
very...
fly.
Yeah.
The fly must be about 2 feet long.
The time you've undone it, you've forgotten where you were
Just,
going for.
just zip there. Nurse!
Also, boys under 12 couldn't have long trousers, they had to have shorts. And, of course, women couldn't wear stockings, so what did they used to do?
Oh, they used to draw a seam on the... Oh, there they
There
are.
you
Drawing
are.
a seam on the back of their leg.
Yeah. Because they felt that if their legs were bare, it was considered that made them look available. I don't know if the boys in the shorts thought the same, but it was... Firstly, they would stain their legs to make them look tanned with gravy browning and things like that. And then they would draw a line down the back, which looked like the seam on nylons. I mean, it seems crazy, but...
Why didn't the soldiers just draw pictures of trousers on their...
Exactly!
I'm in pinstripes.
Yes, pinstripes, all kinds of things like that. Well, anyway, during World War II, it became acceptable for women to wear trousers, but men weren't allowed turn-ups and boys were made to wear shorts. Now, all very good form, no doubt, but here is the most interesting form I have played with. I just wanted to show you this. This item here is a very extraordinary item. It's the only monostatic item in the world. It's self-writing. Whichever way you put it, it will always write itself like this. And
What about Weebles?
yeah, it's like a Weeble. And there's a glass one here. Here's one made of transparent material to show that it's not weighted in any way. It's much more extraordinary than it looks, as it were. When you get the hang of it, it always ends up like this. Be careful with it because it's so... Well, I'm going to...
Extremely valuable.
We're very honoured because we actually have... Have you dropped it? You haven't. You put it under your hat. Lift your hat.
Oh, you're yeah. God, it was that kingdom there.
No,
for a
listen,
minute.
we are actually very...
You're way ahead of me.
We have Gabor Demokosh, the inventor, here with us. Gabor, good evening.
Hi.
It's very good to see you. He's from Hungary. And he and his colleague Peter Vakonyi invented this. Can you explain to me exactly what it is?
Well, this is like a Weeble without a weight.
It is like a Weeble. You get a point, you see?
It's just the shape,
Yeah.
but you have to get it right. The tolerance of the shape
Yeah.
is about 1/100th of a millimeter.
Do you mean to say if these edges here were 1/100th of a millimeter out, it wouldn't right itself?
It wouldn't.
You'd actually be able to keep it in
Right.
one position.
That's correct.
again.
Hey,
It
Gabor.
always goes back to its own...
Have you thought of making these into salt and pepper shakers?
That's a brilliant idea, Gabor.
Then you might make some money off of it.
Yeah, Gabor, Dragon's Den. Come on.
Because you and your colleague, you're actually scientists, mathematicians, yeah?
Engineers, yeah.
Engineers.
Yeah,
And
sort of.
how did you come to build it? What gave you the idea that this could be
Well,
done?
we got the question first. First, we got the question for the mathematician. Then we thought about it, and then we thought we should build it.
Yeah.
But after we built it, we realized it's already there.
In what way is it already there?
Well, some turtles seem to have similar shapes.
So you're saying evolution got there first?
Evolution got a couple of million years earlier there, yes.
So do you feel like you've wasted your life?
You so have not. Well, Gabor, thank you very much for coming all the way to Hungary to explain this. Thank you very much indeed. Specimen. It's called a gombok or a gumbut.
Does it have a practical application?
No, I don't think it does have a practical application. That's what's so beautiful about it.
Didn't they invent the Rubik's Cube?
Rubik's Cube is
in
a
Hungary as
Hungarian
well?
invention.
And the biro.
The biro.
Ladislav Biro invented
Absolutely.
the biro, didn't he?
My grandfather was a Hungarian Jew. He said, Hungarian is the only man who can follow you into a revolving door and come out first. So there, it's the gombok. It's the world's first monostatic shape. It isn't weighted in any way, but whichever way you place it, it will always turn itself up the right way. Now, I'm not a great follower of fashion myself, as you can probably tell. I'm happy... No, BFF. Something of an old fossil, as it happens. But what would you say if I told you that this was the first fossil ever identified?
Is it? I'd say, is it?
Thank you for not falling into a trap, and you wouldn't say bollocks.
Oh, bollocks.
It does look like a handsome pair of human plums, but it isn't. Rob Plott, who was the first keeper of the Ashmolean Museum in Oxford, he recognised it to be a thigh bone, but it's huge. You can't quite tell its scale here. So he assumed it was a thigh bone of a Roman elephant or of a giant race of humans. But he also, as I say, recognising its shape being, as it is called, its scrotum humanum, because that's pretty much what it looks like, let's be honest. But it turned out to be a megalosaur. There is one, a real one.
It's a shame they're not still about.
It is, isn't it?
Up and down the M1.
It's very hard to try and get a grip on how old life on Earth is. But if life on Earth began on January the 1st, and we are now literally the very end of the year, when did the dinosaurs appear?
Hang on, I've got
Tuesday.
It's no good.
The dinosaurs are 200 million years ago. About mid-November.
Not bad. A little later, December the 5th.
Yeah, not bad.
It's a very good.
And we come at sort of 5 to midnight on December the 31st or something, do we? Is that...
We come a few minutes before midnight on December the 31st. But they became extinct on December the 24th, on Christmas Eve. So December the 5th to December the 24th.
Well, if they became extinct on December 24th,
Yeah.
then that's saying that the human race got, what, about 6 days before, clocks go back or something? What? Well,
Here's a year,
okay.
and that year represents the totality of time there's been life on Earth.
Totality of
That's the
time.
beginning,
That's beginning over
and
there.
this is now.
Assuming that time is a linear.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Thank you. So, let's suppose that it's a long pair of trousers, time. Man appeared at the top of the fly.
You don't take your trousers and a dinosaur comes.
Yeah, basically. That's sort of what happens, isn't it? Oddly enough, saurus was ancient Greek slang for penis.
Was it?
Saurus means lizard, yeah, and they would call it your lizard, your knob. Just thought you'd like to know that. So.
I do. I'm pleased to know that. Why is thesaurus then? Is that Latin? That's not ancient.
That's a different word. Thesaurus means a treasure house or a repository. In his case, a treasure house of words.
So you might refer to your backside as a thesaurus.
I'd like to think my bottom is a treasure house. Yes, Alan. Thank you for that.
My bottom of the treasure house is a really good catchphrase.
I'd be my billing matter on my poster. Stephen, my bottom is a treasure house fry. I go with that. All right. And so we arrive, fashionably late, at the bring-a-bottle staircase party of general ignorance. Fingers on buzzers, please. What rhymes with month?
Dump.
This word, I have to say, is probably not known to you.
Jump.
It's Sikhism. It's what the Quran...
Sikhism does not rhyme with month.
No, I'm telling you, I'm taking you into the world of Sikhism. What the Quran is to the Islamic faith, this thing is to the Sikh faith. It's their text, and it's called the Granth. There, you see?
Well, I did every
Well, we
bloody
should
letter
know.
except Gunth.
Yeah.
Well, we should know that. I mean, that's not that obscure.
No, it
I mean,
isn't.
there are
That's
plenty
what I
of
mean.
Sikhs.
It's a perfectly reasonable word.
Yeah.
to know.
So loads of Sikhs watching this programme,
Don't
assuming that they'll be
be
screaming.
Gunth!
For
Gunth,
goodness
you
sake,
idiot!
it's Gunth!
No,
Gunth!
it's Granth.
Garanth.
Not Garanth, just Grunth. There are a lot that supposedly don't have rhymes, and month was one such, and we thought we'd tell you there is Grunth. There you are. So the holy text of Sikhism is the Guru Granth Sahib. Which city has the most Michelin stars?
Paris. Oh. Wait, that don't count. Because I said Paris before I pushed the button. So I get a free guess. Hey, I'm black.
Don't you try that.
I know
nor
for a
is
fact
it
it ain't
Lyon.
London.
It's not
in France.
It's not in France.
New York, then.
Never.
Oh, New York, I'm afraid, has been gone.
Canada.
London, oh, that's...
Who said London?
Alan said London.
I didn't say London, you said
Oh, I said London. Sorry. I
Oh,
said
Rick said London.
I didn't say anything.
He didn't say a word. And frankly, you should be glad.
Rick said London. You said London.
Might have been me.
No, I would never say London. Well, no, what I did say, I said definitely not London. That's what I said. No, I did. I actually said, I did.
I will believe you. I will believe you.
Okay, let me tell you why I said definitely not London. And I'm not just trying to offend London. I'm trying to offend the UK in general. But I feel like any country that can produce Marmite, they started later than everybody else in trying to make food taste good.
This from a country that has spray-on cheese. But you're right, it isn't Britain.
No, man, you
It's
can't
not
cut me off. You gotta give me a chance to insult you back.
All right, sorry.
Marmite tastes like there's a naked man with hairy legs in your kitchen.
But it has.
And every
it does
now
have
and
a
again, you
downside
take
too.
a plate with some toast and you walk under his butt and you go, okay, Fred. Do what you do best.
Very good. Now, the place that has the most Michelin stars...
Germany, Holland, Belgium.
Tokyo.
Tokyo is the right answer.
Oh, yeah,
It
man,
went-
yeah. I should have thought that.
It went straight to number one. It was only put in 2007, and it leapt to 2000 with 150 stars amongst its different restaurants, which is two more than London and Paris combined.
And I could also point out, too, if you put spray on cheese on top of Marmite, you still got something that tastes That's all I want to say. In fact, you can take your favorite food, and if you put Marmite on it, it's
All right, moving on swiftly. Tokyo has the most Michelin stars, twice as many as Paris and 3 times as many as New York. What colour is a nicotine stain?
It's like yellowy brown.
Yellowy brown, eh?
Yellowy brown, yes.
Yeah.
Not yellow.
Just
You're going to tell us that the stain comes from the tar. The yellow or brown is from the tar. Nicotine itself is green or something.
the nicotine stain has no...
No stain at all.
No, it's completely colourless.
So it just kills you quietly on its own.
It's very, very poisonous.
Yeah.
But it's colourless, odourless, and more or less invisible and untraceable. It's a brilliant poison. Do you know why it's called nicotine?
Nicotine, just one puff on your mind.
I remember that at school.
Yeah.
He was the cigarette devil. He was like the Irish cigarette devil.
Why is it called nicotine?
Oh, it's a Frenchman called Nico, was the sort of Walter Raleigh of France who introduced tobacco
Nico.
to the French. Nico spelled N-I-C-O-T.
wow, I sure didn't know that.
Yeah, good. Well, now you do.
I do.
Which dictator definitely only had one ball?
Well, it's not. Well, I'm not going to give my points away on that because I know that was it was made up about the one we mustn't say.
Right.
So we're looking for another dictator.
Yes,
with only
you're,
one
you're
ball.
quite right. It wasn't Adolf Hitler.
Pol Pot.
Wasn't Pol. Oh,
Stalin. I've got Stalin up.
Oh, yes.
Ceausescu. Chairman Mao.
Chairman Mao is the right answer.
He's only got one ball.
Yep.
But he used to have lots of
He
girls.
was,
He was
Proud of it.
Monarchism, it's called. One orchid.
Yes, only one flower display, and
Exactly.
also...
Orchid is the same root as the same word. It's Greek for testicle.
Whose testimony? Another word which derives
His
from
doctor.
the same source.
His testimony,
Yes,
yes. Dr. Li Jisui was his doctor. In his memoirs, he describes how Mao had an undescended testicle and was infertile. Had venereal disease in the late 50s, and then in the 60s he contracted herpes, 67. He never brushed his teeth. He rinsed his mouth with tea, so his teeth were green. He also slept on a wooden bed and used a bedpan.
That's just convenient, though. That's just convenient, yeah.
Yes. Now, Hitler's reputation for being uniglobular is apparently has no justification at all. And that, ladies and gentlemen, brings us to the scores. And first, after a fashion, with a plus score, 4 points, Rich Hall. In second place, with -5, only slightly passé, Clive Anderson. Oh, and doing what he did well with -6, Reg D. Hunter, ladies and gentlemen. And positively paleontological in his outmodedness is tonight's living fossil on -35, Alan Davis. And so it's good night from Rich, Reg, Clive, Alan and me, and we leave you with this thought from Oscar Wilde. Fashion is a form of ugliness so intolerable that we have to alter it every 6 months. My name is Stephen. My bottom is a treasure house fry. Thank you and good night.
Much to his excitement, Lee meets two women who are very, very friendly. It's not going out next on BBC One. And Jonathan Ross's news of tonight's guest list. He'll tell you more about that himself in just a moment. And don't even ask about the eye patch.